Shalom Aleichem, Rabbi Kovacs here, and Mishnah Yomi continues for Erev Shabbos Bechukotai in the 8th chapter of Sotah, Mishnah Zayin, B'mei Devarim Amorim. When do these words apply? Meaning, when do we exempt certain soldiers from fighting in combat during a war? And as we spoke out the last few days, there are many exemptions, and some of them appear that the Torah has designed a system where people who are afraid or have committed averot, transgressions, and are embarrassed to leave, they have an excuse, a positive excuse to also leave if that would detract from the effectiveness of their unit if they would remain there. So these exemptions apply bil milchemet reshut, in a war which is reshut, which is optional. Aval milchemet mitzvah, a war which is a commandment. Hakol yotzim, everybody goes out to the battlefield. Afilu hatan mehadro, even the hasan from the wedding hall, v'kala michupato, and the kala from under the huppah. Now, literally, they're not going to drag the hasan and kala out of the wedding to fight, but the idea is everybody's going, and of course, the women are not there to fight, but to do logistic support, to do cooking and baking and repairing uniforms and the like. So what does it mean, milchemet reshut, where it's optional? Like, what's with an optional war? So the example given is King David the Melech, went to war for Aram Tzova and Aram Naharaim. These are lands, modern-day Syria. Syria was conquered by King David, by David Melech, to expand the borders of Eretz Yisrael and expand the amount of taxes that he could get from conquered nations, get exact tribute, and have more income for Am Yisrael. So those wars are certainly considered reshut, where King David had the option. There's an interesting Gemara at the beginning of Brachot, right around the beginning of the Talmud in Brachot, where David HaMelech is asked by his financial ministry. They say there's not enough money, and he says, well, let's ask the Sanhedrin and the Urim and Tumim and consult and see if we should go to war against our neighbors who seem to have a lot of money right now. So we see from the Talmud, it wasn't just King David wanting to get wealth and plunder. It was something done for the needs of the community on the basis of consulting the Sanhedrin and prophecy through the Urim and Tumim. Now the Mishnah brings another opinion. Amaru Yehuda b'mei devar memorim. When are there exemptions from war? B'melchemet mitzvah, a mitzvah type war. Aval melchemet chova, but an obligation type war. Hakol yotzin, everyone goes out. Afilu chatan mechadro v'chala mikupato. Even a chatan and kala would be involved in a chova. So his definition of chova is the conquest, the kivush of Eretz Yisrael and the war against Amalek. That would be definitely a chova. Everyone would agree that there are no exemptions. But a mitzvah, this sort of middle category from Yehuda, it's explained by the Barnur and other Mefarshim, it's a war that's a good idea as sort of a preventative or preemptive war, where you don't want the enemies of the Jewish people to gain strength and gain numbers. So you sort of want to, thin the ranks of those people who hate the Jews and in the future will become a threat. And perhaps the 6-day war is the best example of this, because everybody knew that Am Yisrael was threatened, Eretz Yisrael was threatened, and the war was imminent, but it was the Israeli army, the Jewish people, decided when and where and how to actually start prosecuting that war. Now, of course, if Jewish lives are threatened, there is a humongous mitzvah to do anything you can to save Jewish lives. So that would put a lot of military operations today in the category of a mitzvah, perhaps even a chova, though we don't pass on like Yehuda. There's also an interesting note that Amalek, there's no more Amalek genetically. The tribe of Amalek is long gone, but there are people that rabbis call ideological Amalek, people who would gladly step into the shoes of Amalek, who, if it looks like an Amalek and acts like an Amalek, you could consider it halachically an Amalek, even if genetically it's not. It's a complex issue, and consult your local military officers and Orthodox rabbis for details. Let's go on to chapter 9, Eglah Arufah, the decapitated calf. Now, this we're going to see is a ritual that was performed when there was an unidentified corpse. They don't know who killed him. And it was sort of, in some ways, it was a way to draw attention to this murder mystery and try to find the culprit, and a way to get kapara, an atonement, for not protecting each Jewish life as appropriate. So, B'Lashon HaKodesh, it's the ceremony said in Hebrew, Shemar ki motzei cholol be'adama v'yatzu zikanecha shavtecha. When they find a dead body on the ground, they will go out, the judges and the elders. And the psukim by Eglah Arufah, they say davar dibur, they have to speak, and speaking by Matan Torah was Hebrew, so too Lashon HaKodesh here. So I explain how many shlosha mi beit din hagodol sh'Yerushalayim. So it has to be 3 judges from the high court in Yerushalayim, hayotzin. They would go out, members of the Sanhedrin would go out and join the local elders and judges for this official ceremony. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Hamisha, he said there's actually needs 5 judges. Shenemar, because it says Zikenecha Shnaim. So Zikenecha means at least 2 elders. 2 elders. Shovtecha Shnaim. Judges, plural, that's at least 2. Ein Beit Din Shakul. And a Beit Din, a court, to do a judicial proceeding is never an even number because they're going to have to take a vote. So Masifin Aleihim Od Echad. So Zikenecha and Shovtecha, you have 2 plus 2, and you need 1 more, so your Beis Din has an odd number. More about the Eglah Arufah tomorrow. Yishar Kochachem, good Shabbos.